Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I'm back on a cruise ship on Friday. Today is Monday. Welcome to my new office. I'm here in the hotel room for a few days, but I got a great view. I get to see all the ships out there as they're coming and going, and every night I hear the Love Boat themed cruise from the Princess ship sailing out of port. It's actually a really nice place to stay, but we do have some cruise news, and I also want to talk about a story I'm reading in the news and in an article about worst cruise ever, and I have such a problem with the article. First off, we have to talk about still what's happening with Ukraine and Russia. We have had more cruise lines cancel. Now we have Princess, Oceania, we have Norwegian, we have Carnival, have all canceled their itineraries for the entire 2022 season. Any stops in Russia, and they are now looking for other stops that they might do. Instead, also, Royal Caribbean is looking at that, as well as, of course, Celebrity as they're part of it. I imagine that will be coming out very, very soon. You can pretty much guess P&O, Costa, they're all going to do the same thing. Right now, there's even restrictions on air travel for Russian airplanes and airlines. It's a no-fly zone over Canada, no-fly zone over the United States, no-fly zone over a lot of Europe. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how even just flying from one place to another now might be a little tricky. That's where we stand. Cruise lines have said, yeah, 2022, forget about going into any Russian port, even if things settle down and calm down and there's a truce. They don't want to risk any flare-up or anything this year. As you know, it's really hard to keep changing your cruise itineraries and changing your stops. There's a lot of work involved and a lot of planning, and you don't like to keep your passengers, your crew, everybody kind of up in the air on where you're actually going. It was hard enough during the pandemic. This one, at least, they can plan for. Speaking of places to go, the Cayman Islands are finally getting ready to open up in late March. They say they are going to start a phased approach where passengers are going to be allowed off 40% of what they normally would bring in on a daily basis to a maximum of 75,000 passengers. I'm not sure, I think that's for the week. And a lot of the restrictions were changed by the Cayman Island government. So the government had this policy where they had to be the first stop when a cruise ship left port because they wanted the least amount of time between testing, getting ashore, or they had to test before letting passengers off. Apparently that restriction has now been lifted. You don't need to test to get there. You don't need to be the first cruise stop on the itinerary. Basically, the cruise ship said, yeah, no, we're at this point in time with everything that's going on with the virus and how things have settled down, we're not going to interrupt our cruise passengers and our itineraries for your one stop. We have other places we can go. And the Cayman Island government's kind of realized, yeah, that's, you know, we don't want to ask for too much as long as they are still requiring testing and they are still requiring proof of vaccination. All guests who get off in the Cayman Islands must be fully vaccinated and must have taken a test before getting on board. Those rules still apply. Now, at the end of April, that's it, the end of April, they say those limits will increase if everything goes according to plan and public health officials sign off on it. So that's good news as well. Another port opening makes it so much better as more itineraries begin to open up, as more and more cruise ships come online. Celebrity Cruise Ships now has 11 cruise ships online. Norwegian is launching 3 more cruise ships in March. So there's a lot of ships coming online and they need places to go. Okay, I want to talk about this article I read on the worst cruise. And now this is an article. on a news website. And, okay, before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Again, it really does help the channel out. I want to hit that 250,000 mark. We're only 100,000 away now. That, you know, it sounds 250,000 is doing. We're over 3/5 of the way there already. So it's not a dream. We could get there, and I just think it'd be really cool. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't send you emails. It doesn't send you spam. It doesn't do any of that. It just says, hey, there's another video up, and would you like to watch it? And that's all it really does. Okay, and again, I'd really appreciate it. It really does help the channel out. Now, this article goes on to have the cruise passenger complained about almost everything on the ship. They started out by saying that the food was terrible, mediocre at best, that they didn't even see a shrimp on a 15-day cruise, let alone a lobster, and the buffet seemed to consist of nothing but hamburger, hot dogs, and fries every single day. And okay, that would be very annoying. A 15-day cruise with no shrimp and no variety of food, I would be very annoyed with that. Then they went on to talk about the entertainment on board and how it was non-existent, that the staff would not even show up for the events. And there was 2 karaoke nights on board. The first night, no staff members showed up, even though there were over 30 people waiting to do karaoke. Then on the next night, it was supposed to be for 3 hours, and they shut it down after 2, even though the bar was still full. Entertainment like that. They said there was no Broadway-style shows on the entire 15-day trip. Instead, there was just performers up on stage, some of them very, very mediocre in their singing and talent, and they seem to have nothing but sexist jokes to tell. And this is what they're saying. Just quote unquote, this is just me quoting them. As well as the staff, when they did show up for events, like if you go to events during the day, like Mardi Gras hat making day or something, you know, the crew members will sit there, they'll talk with you, they'll engage with you, they'll teach you how to do the towel folding and make an animal, all those kind of events. Well, they said what they did here is they would just show up and they would play like a talk about 2 minutes on how to make a flower out of paper tissue and then walk away and leave the people sitting there after 2 minutes. Or they would come in and say, okay, we're going to make this jewelry box, and they would throw the package, sealed up bag on the table with instructions in it and then leave. And this was the entertainment. I'm reading, I'm going, and I'm getting frustrated because I'm a big cruiser guy. You know, I'm a big cruise guy. And I'm looking and I'm saying, oh, well, what the heck cruise line was this? They don't mention it. They don't mention what cruise line. They don't mention where the itinerary was. They don't mention, you know, when this cruise was. Was it back in 1970? Was it one of those small independent cruise lines that no one's ever heard of? Was it a ferry boat? What is it? Royal Caribbean? Is it Princess? Is it what is it? They don't say in the article what cruise line, where, when, what they were doing. And then I started looking at some of the photos they put there, and all the photos are Getty images. Now, if you don't know what that means, that's just stock footage that is sitting on a website that you can go and you can download to use. In fact, the one picture that they look where this girl looks like she's walking on deck, a picture of a long deck and everything, and the picture she has a mask on and she's holding her head like she has a headache and like she's, oh my God, she's having a terrible time. That's not even a picture of a cruise ship. That's a super yacht. Do you notice a narrow walkway with the windows? That's walking to the front of a super yacht, a private boat. It's not a cruise ship. So, yeah, I hate to say it, but that news article was just garbage. If you cannot provide us with what cruise line, when it was taken, what the itinerary was, or anything other than say, I had a bad time and this happened. I could say that about anything I wanted. Hey, you know what? Oh, I was just on a cruise ship and I won $100 million in the casino. Thanks, everybody. I don't have to show proof, I guess. I don't have to tell you what cruise line. I don't have to tell you where I won it. I don't have to show you proof that I won it. Apparently, in the news media, you just have to tell the story, I guess. So yeah, if you happen to see that article or a news story covering that or anything like that, just remember, none of the pictures are real. The story doesn't tell of any cruise line in particular, or even when it happened, or even the passenger's name. They just said, this happened. Wow. I could certainly make a living if I only had to come up with things off the top of my head. Well, that's just a little bit of lighthearted stuff. I just wanted to warn you, if you see that article out there, it's complete garbage. It's a garbage article and makes no sense whatsoever. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let's see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs, all the way from my new office in Florida for a few more days anyway. Hit that subscribe button until next time. Have yourself a safe and a great vacation.